Hello, hello. Welcome to Bunny Love 444. How does it go? Cheerio. Well, today is day 24 of our sacred transformation, and this one's going to be a rough one. I see we lost another soul family member somewhere along the lines, so you know, it is what it is. But when I say that this one is going to be a very different one, it's because of the fact that we have 7 days left, and our Father says He's with us through this part of the journey. This last 7 days of the sacred transformation is going to be very hard. You may need to grab a box of Kleenexes, grab a snack, grab a drink. Good morning, sweetheart. Thank you for being here. This one is going to be very difficult because, as you've seen as the title, it's acute, chronic, and complex. Okay, and this is where a lot of people tend to hide some of the deepest things with them three: PTSD, which the acute are the PTSD, but the C/PTSD is the chronic and the complex. Okay, and so, like I said, this one is a very deep understanding when it comes to that sacred transformation. You have to be able to pull out the darkest of the darkest, okay? And the reason why I'm saying that is because a lot of us don't want to pull out the darkest of the dark, right? You don't want to deal with it, you don't want to remember it. And that's why when you see the picture on here, it's the eye, because Father sees all, and He sees all the trauma that you have gone through. And we go through trauma that is acute trauma, we go through chronic trauma, and we go through the complex trauma. And it depends which one, because the acute is, there's one single incident that could traumatize you into adulthood, right? And make you become that very angry and aggressive person. The chronic is the repeated prolonged violence of domestic violence and abuse, on the physical aspect of it. And the complex is the exposure to the variety of multiple events of that invasive, impersonal nature of violating us. Yeah. So since we've started the sacred journey, we've lost two people from the count of our soul family. I don't know exactly who it is yet. I just came on and got confirmation, sweetheart. So I'm not sure who checked out on us. But it's their free will, and when they're ready to come back, they will. But yeah, we did. And like I said, and Father even said that he knew that this was going to happen because these last 7 days, all of it is important, but these last 7 days are like the deepest. And when we talk about the acute, chronic, and complex of our childhood traumas into the adolescence, into the adulthood, they become real. And they become so real that some of our most loved people who were so gifted and so talented took their own life. And that's what we're trying to prevent, is people knowing that they do have somebody on their side. They do have somebody in their corner. They have others that have gone through this, and it's important for the message of the sacred transformation that people know that. So we're going to get into it, but like I said, just know that it's going to be a rough conversation here because it's about the acute, the chronic, and the complex, right? All right. So what do we need to know, Father? What do we need to know? Yeah, I'm telling you. The grief. As the childhood, grief came out. This is number 19, grief, West, and Black. And it's true because just being able to think about it, it's the grief from abandonment, it's the grief from tear, it's the grief from loneliness, it's the grief from, the anger, the pain, sexual, mental, emotional abuse, that has been prolonged, that has been a gateway at certain levels of your consciousness from a childhood to an adolescent to an adult. And through all of these pains and feeling cold and alone, it's time you reach within and see the depths of it, okay? Because the depths of it is teaching you how to bring it about, how to no longer keep it a secret, how to no longer, let that acute, chronic, or complex pain isolate you from living your best life, okay? And so when you're not healed from the acute, from a certain incident that took place that has created trauma, whether it's how it affects your relationships, how it affects you sleep, or, however it may be, each trauma kind of pertains to somebody else, right? And when I say it pertains to somebody else, it's like you hold on to that grief so much that it brings you into depression, anxiety, PTSD, panic attacks. Yeah, and it's just, thank you, confirmation. But it's showing also the parts of yourself that are not yet healed, that you have overlooked, that you have not wanted to look into, that you did not want to deal with, that you didn't want people to know about because you don't want to be embarrassed, you don't want to be ashamed. But the thing is if you don't actually put it out there and get it out and heal yourself, what is that grief teaching you? It's teaching you that when you hold it in, it stops your growth. Because when you heal from it, you live your daily life. You live your daily life to the most, right? And if you look at everything with grief, nothing in your life but grief comes. But the greatest teacher is being able to teach about the acute, the chronic, and the complex. Because I could tell you, I've experienced all three on all different levels, okay? And I'm telling you, even being healed, it's getting me choked up because it's like it brings you back to that time when you were mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, spiritually attacked and violated. But with the grief and being number 19, Father says, you as the angelic being, what is lost always comes back in a higher way. So when you have a greater understanding and go through the changes and start bringing it out instead of holding it in, it's the greatest thing. By letting it go and letting God have it, it's the greatest thing. And so I don't know if my soul family is not getting the notification bell, but it's all good. I'm going to just keep going forward. So this message of grief with the 3 types of trauma, that know that you can explore and come in contact with all of them, okay? So if you've had one single incident, that's an acute incident that has brought trauma to your life, that has carried you from a child to an adolescent to an adult. Some of you may just experience, that acute as an adult, or maybe just as an adolescent, or maybe just as a child. But the chronic, it's that prolonged, repeated offense that's continuously causing you grief, causing you depression, causing you to not like who you are inside. And the ones that have had the grief with the complex, this is that exposure of varied situations that have been very invasive to you and have really affected your life. So what message made us realize our need for this as the adolescent? Yeah, we needed to find that harmony in our life. And in order to do that, we have to be able to talk about the acute, the chronic, and the complex, right? So this is number 20, harmony, West and Black. And this is talking about as a child into the adolescent, it's you got to imagine yourself that you are the hub of this wheel that is going around and around and around, right? And you are that key component to everything. And by not talking about it or not releasing it, it's almost as if you don't lube the gears, right, for it to roll into that harmony by trusting and believing. So your emotional self takes over, and what happens? All of a sudden you start having broken spokes or a tire goes flat, right? That's because that's the true grief and the function of the way things work. Now, in order for things to be in harmony, your emotions have to be imbalanced. Your emotions, your mental status is very important. It needs to be in balance, okay? And so you need to be able to reflect back. Do I need to spend a little more time on this grief with the acute, chronic, and complex situations or situation that you have gone through that is carried on into the adulthood? So what do they need to work most on, Father? What do they need to work most on? Yeah. So we have the 5, which is the quickening, south, and red, because this is our journey. We can't take back what happened to us. We couldn't stop the people who did the things that they did to us, right? But we have number 17, perfection, west, and black. So what I'm getting with these two cards, a father coming out and saying, it's like when you reflect back on that grief that has been holding that fence between you of being able to live your best life and go down your path without worrying. To me, it is saying that in order for your dreams to come true, in order for you to be able to be that true warrior and to teach and to enjoy and have that harmony, you got to be able to perfect what is holding you back. And a lot of that is the 3 types of trauma that are in our life, right? It's the pain from the childhood that we haven't dealt with, it's the pain from the childhood that we haven't dealt with, and we still got that fine line of being able to know how deep we go in order to conquer this. How deep and strong can we make ourselves so that we can be that warrior that ain't afraid to travel our journey, right? So it's a deeper understanding of using these traumas that have taken place and use it as a power tool to be able to have that state of perfection, to know that you're clearing your mind, you're allowing things to get out, you're allowing it to be in the open, and you're having a greater understanding on a soul level, okay? So what are they out of balance of for the future, Father? What are they out of balance for the future? Because some of this is a very strong vibration that I'm feeling of some of you have not worked through this. And by not working through this is number 7, trust, south, and red. This is about trusting and believing in the higher power. This is about trusting and believing in God. This is about trusting and believing that when you work through all of this grief and you bring it to light and you let it go, you now become in your power. You now can fully trust and believe that you can work on anything and you can do anything, and it's mind over matter now, because you can take the things that were on your mind that mattered very deeply, that other people looked right over and didn't care about, and you can now surrender it. Because a lot of this that's showing up right now with the 3 blacks and the 2 reds is the fact that a lot of you still need to surrender in this physical realm of, in your adulthood, your emotional self, your physical self, and your spiritual self. You need to be able to release all of this, because it's quickly causing you trust issues. It's quickly self-sabotaging your blessings and your gifts. It's hard. It's hard when you look at it like this. So, all right, Father, so what do they need more clarity about? What do they need more clarity about? What do they need more clarity about? Yeah, it's 26 gathering north and white. And what you need more clarity on for your balance is to gain that balance, to gather the information that you are not alone. The things that have happened to you have happened to so many others. And you need to see that wisdom with that infinite consciousness to know, in order to have that harmony, you have to release this acute, this chronic, and this complex pain that has been holding you back. Okay. And a lot of you could have the acute where you watched an incident where there was physical violence, or, mental emotional violence, or sexual or spiritual violence. It all depends what one you place yourself in on your situation. Wow. So, what is the lesson of power today? Yeah, 33, north and white. This is aspiration. This is you having this gentleness with yourself, to have that understanding that all of your hollow achievements is because of what you've been feeling with these traumas. And these traumas play a significant part, whether these traumas did physical damage to your skull, body parts, if you've got scars that remind you, the powerful lesson is that the pain is real, and your scars are your battle wounds that remind you every day of this. And that's why it's so much better for you to be able to release it and surrender it to our Father. Because the master teacher says, when you keep your heart open, the things that they have done, turn your cheek. And if they do it again, turn your other cheek. Because they're the ones that are going to have to come forward on Judgment Day and know what they did. Okay. And a lot of you have been mistreated throughout your whole life because of the people that have done this to you. Okay. They want to make it look like, oh, I hate that person because, such and such and such and such. But really, their deep, dark secret that they're living with is that they did something on a complex level and a chronic and an acute level that they ain't coming to terms with their grief of what they did. they don't want people to know what they did, but yet they want to punish you for everything that they have done. They want to belittle you and make you feel this big from what they've done to you, when really the whole time they were the one that did the invasive interpersonal nature, and now you're dealing with this, and when you bring it out, they want to portray you like you're lying about it. Okay, just know that I completely understand while this is all coming out tonight, because it's like being reborn. When I say being reborn, when I passed and I come back, it was like Father gave me that rebirth. And when he gave me that rebirth, he gave me that wisdom and that knowledge to be able to see the acute, the chronic, and the complex of everything in my life. And it was very painful. But the people of which were pulled away and made the betrayal look like I was the one that betrayed, when really it was their wheel, the hub of their wheel, that did not function properly. And so on the physical, mental, emotional, and spiritual and sexual, they're to blame. They're to blame for it all. So my fear today that is stopping me from transformation, my fear that is stopping me from the transformation and healing today, I can tell you right now, before the card even comes out, is a lot of you have to look at the positive point of it, is that everything that happened to you, you broke that generational curse. You did not let it happen to your children. You did everything in your might to protect your children. You did everything in your might to have that open communication and closeness with your children. You wanted to be able to create that safe place for your children, knowing that you went through the acute, the chronic, and the complex. So that's a true warrior. What do we need to know? What is the fear today, Father? The fear of the day, 30, courage, north and white. So a lot of you are afraid to stand up to your assailants. A lot of you are afraid to expose the things that have taken place. A lot of you are afraid to discover that part of you deeply enough to bring it out, because you're afraid of the repercussions, and you're afraid of the world around you and the way that they're going to look at you, like they're going to treat you differently. That's not the case. That's not the case. Okay. Hello. That is not the case. They're not going to treat you differently because of your acute, chronic, and complex trauma. The thing is you need to have courage instead of clinging to, well, what is this person going to do to me if I bring it out? It doesn't matter. Okay. As long as you are clearing your grief and bringing harmony to yourself, to have that perfection within you, to quickly to be able to release and trust on it by gathering that courage, that strength, and to be inspired to move forward with your accomplishments. Okay. So it's like these other people are clinging to the fact of the way they had threatened you to make sure that you don't tell anybody what's going on. Okay. But yeah, I'm getting, have the courage to know when it comes to it, trust and believe in our Father, because you could be seeing 333. Okay. That is saying, listen, the three traumas, the acute, the chronic, and the complex, they are very real. And mentally, it can mess with you. Emotionally, physically, spiritually, it all messes with you. But you have to be that warrior. You have to be that loving heart that says, listen, I'm going to better myself. I don't care whether it's family, friends, acquaintances, whoever may have done it. The thing is in order for you to succeed, it needs to come out. It needs to come out. So let's get a healing crystal. What do we need to know, Father? What do we need to know? Yeah, confirmation. Another 3. So we have 3333 coming out. This is strong communication. My ear's itching. This is strong communication that it's no longer safe for you to hold it in. It's no longer safe to hold in that one acute incident that has created that trauma, or the repeated prolonged with the chronic, the repeated and prolonged domestic abuse or any type of abuse, or the complex where they're invading your personal space and, taking away your right to say no. Okay. So it's time to communicate. It's time to put it out there. It's when I'm seeing 3333, it's coming in and saying, you need to have the courage. You need to be optimistic on this. You need to see the truth of what's going on. Yeah, because you got to be able to make the transformation. Yeah, absolutely. You, number 10, you as the angelic being, you have to make this transformation to be able to speak about it and not hold it in. Because like I said, we have lost some very amazing people to this same type of things that we went through. But in order to heal yourself, you truly have to communicate it and make that transformation and not allow it to be in your space anymore. Yeah, 16, because Father will help create that peace, okay? He will help create that peace to where everything is more deeply rooted and grounded, a lot of people, like I said, they're afraid to speak about these situations that have taken place because they're like, oh, well, it happened when I was a child, or it happened when I was a teen, or it happened when I was an adult. The thing is I don't want to bring it out because they feared that they were going to do something to me or to the people I love. Okay, you have to have the courage. This is the courage card, right? You have to have the courage to be able to know that you have a right to be heard. You have a right for your story to come out. Okay, what else do we need to know, Father? I'm telling you, because He will give you that stable foundation and give you a rebirth. He will make all your hollow achievements become solid achievements. And you will have that harmony. You will have that prosperity. You will have that bliss. And you will be completely at ease in the heart, right? Yeah, look, your divine path. You will get the insight to be guided to where you need to be. Yeah. So it should inspire you for a new beginning. To use that knowledge out of unconditional love and be abundant and release it. So that's very powerful. That's very powerful. Okay, what else do we need to know? What else do we need to know? Yeah, Artemis is saying, listen, for your stability, you need to focus. You need to pick your target and you need to be able to really open up into it and let it out. Let it out. Okay. What else do we need to know? What else do we need to know? Yeah, Sophia, this is the divine wisdom. This is broken down to another number 3, okay? So it's all about the communication. And it's strongly being urged, seeing 33333 to have 5 3s up here. It's telling you that it's the divine wisdom to let it out, let it go, and let God have it. Yeah, Mother Earth Gaia, be deeply rooted and grounded. trust and believe in our Father and have that rebirth. Be able to enjoy your life knowing that you don't have to hold this stuff in that brings you to a much deeper and darker place. Yes, make that transformation. Eister, yeah. The communion was coming into self. And we have apatherite, which is the romantic love. Okay, so what this is telling me is that to come in to that unity of you and love yourself enough to say, listen, I'm going to put my story out there. You know, it doesn't matter what the world says. I'm going to put my story out there of what people done. Yeah, because Maya comes through with the truth, right? So you could be seeing 7-7, which is all about the big changes. That's our Father coming in and saying, listen, it will make a significant change in your life when you can release the acute, the chronic, and the complex, right? Hold on, I dropped one here. Yeah. All right, what else do we need to know, Father? Yeah, it's being very strategic, okay? This is about being able to win over the opponent, and the opponent is that grief and that pain. And you are that warrior, and very strategically, you are mending and healing the areas of your life that will significantly make that change, right? What else do we need to know, Father? Yeah. Okay, a lot of you, 44 is coming up. That's very powerful, very abundant. Okay, you're going to see your life change. You're going to see that all of these impasses that have been in your life to where you feel like you can't get over that hump, right? You can't move that. Well, it's going to be moved from you, because when it's showing me the crown chakra, it's Father coming in and saying, yes, it will all be taken care of. It will all be dealt with. Yeah. See, because Archangel Michael is coming in and protecting you. You are an innocent being a victim of mental, emotional, sexual, physical, spiritual abuse. And your acute, chronic, or complex level, depending on how severe it is with you, Archangel Michael is here saying, protecting you, saying, listen, the truth is the truth. And that enlightenment needs to come out more, because it has turned a lot of significant people into a dark place where they've taken their own life, you know, and we don't want that. We don't want that. Yeah. Okay, because the thing is you could be seeing 444, which is that spiritual awakening, which is that stability, but this is views of the ego. So the views of the ego are, this person that did this to you is trying to stand in their ego that they have power and control over your life. And Father says, no, they don't. He does. He's got the power. Yeah, because look, you are in complete battle with your heart. You are in complete battle with your inner love. And that's coming in with another 7 and a 10. So it's Father coming in and saying, you as the angelic being, you've gone through so many battles, you've gone through so many storms, okay? And now it's time to communicate it so that you can mend your heart and get to what you're very passionate about. What else do we need to know, Father? Yeah. The 2 of Roses, your angelic team is with you, okay? There's always somebody you can talk to about the situation. There's always somebody that has been through it, that has healed through it, who understands it. So if you're sitting there battling it, just know that there are other people, and especially your angelic team, you know, they're protecting you very much, very much. And they're doing this because they see what has been done to you. And it's like you always have somebody to talk to. You have our Father and you have other people that have gone through this. It's about you being able to communicate it, you being able to strategically open up. Yeah, look, we got reflection. Okay. It's about being able to reflect back on it and no longer letting it be that thorn in your side that has carried on for generation to generation. Because Hellron is all about the new beginning. Your spiritual team is waiting. They are on standby waiting for this new beginning for you to really take charge of your life. So, what is the soul truth? What is the soul truth today? What if it was easy? Well, if it was easy, we would have found a solution a long, long time ago. But the thing is you need to have grace and receive that guidance and support to know that you are not alone. And that you should list 10 possible things of what has made you do things easier from what you had to live with. Where am I called to use my voice right now? You're called to use your voice to speak your story, speak your grief, release and surrender your pain and grievance from the acute, chronic, and complex situations. Be that catalyst for that healing, right? It's have that greater understanding that we all go through this massive pain. We all go through these massive trials and tribulations. Do I surround myself with people who lift me up? The thing is if they're not making you happy and they're bringing out more pain, it's time to let go. Thank you, Spirit, for knocking everything down. Because that was just confirmation that they're trying to help knock everything down to you to rebuild. Okay, what else do we need to know for the soul's truth? What else do we need to know for the soul's truth? What do I believe about money? Do my beliefs match my dreams? Are you grateful to money because it provides? Do you let it go with the flow? Do you take responsibility? Do you do your share? Because the thing is do not let money make you greedy. Do not let money make you greedy. All right, let's get a heart card. What do we need to know, Father? Thank you. Yeah, so Father is saying, listen, stay deeply rooted and grounded so you can have this joy and stability in your life, finally, after holding this in for so long. And look at, there's the trust card. This is the new beginning. You need to be able to trust that you will have a new beginning when you release this, when you let it out, because it brings a mental health severe alert when you don't deal with this kind of trauma. He's asking me for a few more cards. What do we need to know, Father? Yeah, the opportunities beckon now with this message to be able to make that sacred transformation. It's like pull out these deep, hard, painful things that have happened with the abuse, the different types of abuse, whether mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, or spiritually. The opportunities now. He's telling you it's time to be deeply rooted and grounded. You have so many fours out here. It's like 44, 44, 44. Oof, I'm telling you. He's saying be prepared. Be prepared and trust that the new beginning is coming. What else do we need to know, Father? Yeah, there's another number 7. Seek the truth. Seek the truth and it shall set you free. To no longer grief, but to create that harmony and that joy and stability in your life, knowing that you have the freedom and liberation to freely be yourself, so that you can finally have that new beginning and rest and relax, so that you are no longer in this 9 of Swords energy, because this is depression, this is anxiety, this is PTSD, this is despair. This is exactly what I've been talking about, because the first card that came out was grief. The last card that came out was the 9 of Swords. The acute, chronic, and complex does put you in anxiety and depression, PTSD, CPTSD, panic attacks. I love you too, sweetheart. I'm trying my best. It's been a rough day. Been a rough day. But I love you and I appreciate you, so that you can move into that abundance. This is like the Chariot. You need to be able to battle this with communication, the strength, the inner strength that Father gives you to carry through, to battle through, because this is like the Chariot card. It's like moving together through the infinite challenges and being able to have that willpower and determination to fight through it. What else do we have, Father? Yeah, because look, the 5 of Swords. The conflict, it's real. It's real. And no matter if you win or lose, just know that it will always work out. So even if your darkest fears come in with that depression, that anxiety, and that despair, just know that there are people out there. And this makes me very emotional, because I've lost some dear friends to suicide. Excuse me a minute. Just give me a minute, please. I was trying my hardest to hold up. Hello. Oh, wow. But like I was saying, I'm trying to get the water to shut off here. Like I said, this battle is so real that I have lost friends to suicide. I have fought massive depression, massive anxiety, and it's all real. And even though you're healed, you look back and you say, man, I wish I would have been able to have all this information when I was battling through it, so that I could help my dear friends that took their life. my dear cousins, and some of, like I said, some of our favorite musicians that are well known to be a healer across the world. And we lost two of them within a couple of months from each other, and the second one took his life on his friend's birthday, which is here coming up July 20th. And I ain't gonna put it out there because it's not my business to put it out there under confidentiality, but it's like the battle's real. The battle's real, and people just don't understand. Yeah, it is. It is. It gets really hard sometimes because it's like, even though you're healed from it, it's like being that spiritual being, it's like you feel their pain because you're dealing and have dealt with your own pain with it. And you wished you could have been that tool to put it out there to let them know that even if it was the acute for one incident of a traumatic situation that affected them going into massive drugs or alcohol or whatever it may be, because I can tell you mine stemmed from complex, the invasion of my personal space being violated, the chronic of being abused, you know, broken eye socket, broken jaw, broken hand, broken collarbone. He shattered my ankle with a crowbar. I mean, a lot of things have taken place. And that acute incident was the acute incident when it came to my parents. They couldn't even be there for me, you know? And it's like them traumas do affect people, but thank you, sweetheart. Give me a second here. And no matter how healed you are from it, you can never stop feeling that traumatic pain. That pain is real. And I'm a strong person, and like I said, it brings tears to my eyes, as you can tell. That's why I'm over here holding the Kleenex on my eyeballs. Because the pain is real. And the people that truly cared about me to make sure that I was safe and not violated, they've passed away, you know? They're not there anymore. So I've been going solo since I was 14 years old. I've been going solo since I was 14, and it's a battle. It's a battle. Like I said, it's crazy how this reading of what Father said, you know, bringing up the acute, the chronic, and the complex, I was like, oh, I'm healed. I can get through this. I can do this for you, Father. It is. It is real spiritual warfare because it's like they try so hard to hit you in places that you know you've healed, but the emotional level of, and I know I probably can't say it on here, you know, but you can imagine finding your best friend, finding your best friend, and mm, that one still is like hard for me because he was my best friend. He was one that it didn't matter when I was in a relationship and I would text him 3, 4 in the morning, help me, because he's gonna end up taking my life, he won't stop beating me for no reason. It's like when you get woke up out of your bed, ripping the covers and getting pounded for you don't know what, because you was sleeping, you was home in bed, you was loyal, you was faithful, right? You're at home and they're out drinking, and you get ripped out of bed and you're starting to get beaten. My best friend would come and rescue me. He would come and rescue me. And my partner thought that we had a relationship, but we didn't. It was like a brother and sister. It was best friends. There was never no interaction whatsoever. And the sad part is that's one of the reasons why he took his own life, is because he wanted that relationship with me, but he couldn't speak his feelings to me. He didn't say anything, and that's something that's hard to live with, knowing that your best friend couldn't speak out, couldn't express, because he thought that he would waste 20 some years of friendship. Yeah. Yes. I know I can't be strong all the time, and I will never try to, sweetheart. It's like when I have my moments, especially like this, um, this these last 7 days where it comes into the massive hardcore trauma, it's like I don't even know how to say it, but it's like the flashbacks. They come back and they come back, and you're like trying to be strong, and you can't. You can't. Emotionally, you can try your hardest, but I don't put on a facade. And that's why you guys saw me break right there, because it's like I'd still have my best friend today who would have helped me and guide me to better relationships because of the lower energy that I was in. I was getting them lower energies where, they were narcissists, they were very abusive. And I even had the one say to me, how did he say that? He's like, "Oh, you don't have to be afraid." He's like, "I'm not gonna you." And I was like, "Really?" And then it was 13 years of massive abuse. And that's a loyal and dedicated person. But if I would have had true support from the heart, I would have never stayed there. After that first year, I would have left. But I uprooted from one state completely to another state, everything. Changed my college, everything. I mean, I did everything, and it's real. It's real. So them incidents are real. But the one that gets me the most, because like I said, I've got scars, it's no big deal. This right here, he broke my eye socket here. He closed fist punched me 9 times and broke my eye socket in 2 spots. And that same night is when this arm, that's why right here, there's a divot in there, broke my arm, my collarbone. Abuse is real. And anybody who is going through abuse right now, whether it's mentally, emotionally, physically, sexually, spiritually, it's time to get out. Your life is more important. And if I would have had somebody that I could go to, I would have done that. I would have done that. Yes. Yes, exactly. And that it kills me because, like I said, that was one of the hardest things, because I would always, go over there every day to go see his parents and him, you know. We'd hang out. He was a mechanic, and he was always showing me things and doing things. And yeah, and one morning I came over, and I remember his brother saying, "You don't want to go up there?" And I said, "Yes, I do." And he's like, "No, you don't." And I said, "Yes, I do." And I had to see him one last time, because you don't get to say things on the physical plane to them before they cross over. But he's with me every single day. Spiritually, we talk every single day. And he still can't believe all the things that I have come through, and still riding solo, and doing it myself. He's like, because he's been gone 31 years. No, 28 years. He's been gone 28 years now. And yeah, it's devastating to know. And that's one of the things that threw me into recovery, because it was like, wow, if people just had that courage or that self-confidence to be able to communicate, we could have talked about it, and I would have let him know, man, sorry, I can't be with you like that. I don't just sleep with whoever, you've been my best friend. But I would put it out there point blank to him of, hey, it's not rejecting you as a person, it's just you're more my best friend, like my brother, and then I could never do that. But yeah, he didn't want to speak about it, and then the other one, it's scary how these things can truly affect somebody's life, because I had one who actually stabbed himself 7 times. It was, yeah, he made it. He made it. He made it. He made it, but that was one of the massive abusers. I mean, I've been stabbed right here in my throat with a fork. Had my nose busted 4 times by being head smashed. So the abuse is real. It's no joke. And when you see signs of other people who are silenced, who have gone through these things, man, it just makes me want to go to them and be like, listen, I've been where you are. I've tried to cover it. I've tried to hide it. I've tried to protect him. I've tried to do all these things. But there's a time where we have to heal. We have to love ourselves enough to say enough is enough. That we're not going to go through the abuse anymore. We're not going to go through the manipulation. We're not going to go through the control issues. Because you need a partner who's going to be there equally, who's going to show up every day, who's going to love you unconditionally for your imperfectly perfect self, flaws and all. It's like, don't let nobody try to change or conform you into something else and abuse you because you're not doing that, okay? Have the strength to be able to get out. And when it comes to our childhood and our adolescent years, when it comes to the chronic of that interpersonal violation, that is what a complex trauma is when your free will was taken away from you. Your life was threatened. That's the complex trauma. The chronic trauma is just repeatedly, doing these things to you and then say, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I love you. They don't know what love is because they don't love themselves enough to go in. So, like I said, this one gets pretty deep, These last 7 days is the true strength of how much transformation have you made. Can you be able to bring these things out? Can you talk about them? Can you let it be known that we all share some of the same incidents, whether it's trying to control, taking the keys so you can't go anywhere, or blocking you and screwing the door shut so you can't leave, you know? I mean, it's a lot to deal with, but like I said, I've been doing it since I was 14, and I'm telling you, a true warrior can go through all of these things and handle it because she knows that God's on her side and everything will come forward. And that's where that balance comes out, to where you can heal yourself. But that pain that you've healed, that does not mean, that the emotions shut off. When you think about it, yes, like you saw, the tears come rolling down my eyes, because it's like that pain that your soul feels, being a witness to it, that'll never go away. That'll never go away. It's being able to come back and being able to talk about it and say, hey, listen, this is why I just broke. Because it's like, when you see these things happen, it brings up that emotion, and a very nurturing, loving, caring person will bring tears, because that's a Hyoki empath. You are feeling everything that they felt. Yes, it is mentally heartbreaking. It's mentally, emotionally, and physically heartbreaking, because a lot of people kind of take that for granted. It's like, you're in a relationship and you get abused within that relationship, and they're like, okay, it's not going to happen again. And all of a sudden, it's just like more, 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 more. And it's like something triggered inside of their mental status to now make you be the one to lash out, because you love them unconditionally. And you're always forgiving, 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 because that's who God made us to be, right? But the thing is you can't stay in a relationship like that. You can't. That person needs to seek help, and you need to pack your bags and leave. Wish them well on their journey, and that pray that they get the help that they need, if you can't be in that relationship. I mean, I'm telling you, so much has transpired where I've got scars that are like that long on each elbow right here. Okay? It's like, had no use of my arms. God fixed that. It's like, you got to keep persevering forward. And I can't stress it enough. And anybody who is going through these things, it's better to communicate. It's better to put it out there instead of holding it in, to where you let that depression, that anxiety, them panic attacks, the PTSD, the CPTSD, and all of them come in to mentally impair you, to envisionally block you off, to close down your hearing, to where you're not hearing the outside world anymore. It's like you're trying to figure out how to walk on eggshells so that you don't upset this person, to have them come lashing at you again. There's so many things that one who goes through that has to deal with on a deeper level. And that's why it's important to heal from the grief. That's why it's important to bring that harmony back to your life, because you are not deserving of that. God didn't create you to be that type of person, and he didn't create you to be with that person who does that to you. So it's the fact of, it's got to be brought out. Your deepest fears need to be illuminated so that you can truly heal. But just know, it is no joke. That pain will never subside, especially if you've eyewitnessed or physically gone through something that traumatic. That pain will never go away. Every time that you talk about it, a tear may roll down your face. That is your soul crying what words you can't speak, or what your mind is not foreseeing at that time. Your soul is releasing that Hyoki empath of feeling the emotions of that person, and that nurturing self of you, of why the tears get released. But you can come in and you can be that warrior. You can have that strength. You can see, you know, it's a hard journey and it's real. And I don't take it as a joke. I don't take it lightly because to me, all lives matter. When God said that we are like a bouquet of flowers, we come in all different shapes, colors, and sizes. Many people laugh about that. But you know what? There's nothing to laugh about it. We are that beautiful seed that was in our mother's womb, that our Father co-created for us to blossom into the greatest of who we are meant to be. Not to be isolated, not to be beaten, not to be held captive. You know, I was held captive for 4 hours. I mean, it's real. It's real. And then they want to look down on you when you start protecting yourself, when you learn, because that's what I had to do. I learned how to fight back. Like, you can see my thumbs, if you can see them here. My thumbs. So I have the scar here and along the side right here where I gashed it down right here. Defending myself, I went through that door, grabbed and went like that, just to be able to save myself. So that stuff is real. That stuff is real. It is no joke. It is no joke. And I don't like seeing other people go through it. I don't like seeing or hearing that children are being violated. That really angers me inside. I just want to get on a big horn in front of the whole world on the news thing and be like, listen, this has got to stop. You're wrecking generations after generations of these conditions and these programs that they've been programmed to do. It's like, seek help. You can be forgiven. Seek help. Show that you are a truly caring person. That's what they need to understand, but they don't, because they have their own trauma that they're not wanting to deal with. And so they take all their trauma out on you. And you need to be able to make sure that that pays a lot of attention, because you need to know your worth. You need to know that you're worthy. Everything that God created you to be, He created you to be the best. That's why He put your parents together. And that's why the inner work needs to be done. So that is the beautiful message of our Father for tonight. And I'm sending lots of love and light and blessings to everybody. Like I said, I keep it real, and I'm just like you guys, you know, you can't hold things in. It has to come out. And no matter how healed you are, you will never erase the photographic memory that you have. And on a spiritual level, when they communicate with you every day, it gets hard, because, you know, the whole time he's just sitting there. He's like, yeah, I know it was hard and I should have been able to talk to you. And he can admit all of his things now. But I wish he was still physically here, because he'd still be my best friend, you know? He'd still be my best friend, because I didn't have to worry about anything. I didn't have to worry about none of the competition type stuff, because it ain't about competition with me. It's like, you want competition? Okay, well, I'm going to go over here and do the harder things while you over here and do the lighter things. You know, it's not making fun of anybody. It's just saying that I was more in my divine masculine instead of my divine feminine. And I had to learn to fight the best, the hardest. And yeah, I don't know why it just came in there, but that ain't cool. Wow. It just came in. It's like, yeah, this grown man who had hands 2 times bigger than me hit me 9 times, and my subconscious is like, but he didn't knock you out. No, he didn't. Because it's fight or flight, right? And I was in fight mode to fight for my life. So anyways, that is the tidbits on that. This is the beautiful reading for tonight. To really acknowledge your acute, chronic, or complex traumas. Okay, there's 3 stages. Father said there's 3 stages: the acute, chronic, and complex. And really dig deep into that. Think about what traumas are holding you back, what are stopping you from your accomplishments, what is mentally keeping you stuck to where it's causing the mental illness. Okay, because mental illness is very, very important that we heal and that we bring it to the light. Okay, because like I said, all lives matter. So I love all of you. Blessings. God bless all of you. Peace, love, and light. May all your wishes, dreams, and goals come true. And I will be back on tomorrow. Also, don't forget to check out my Earth Angel 444 Intuitive Healer channel. I got that back up and running today. I was locked out of it for a while. I got people trying to steal my business website and everything. I mean, it's been quite the day. So, all right. I love you all. So, family, keep shining, keep your head up, shoulders back, and keep persevering forward. And I will be here back at 7 p.m. Peace.